Welcome back. Many people often complain about being quoted more than others when it comes to car insurance. But of course, there are factors to this, such as the age, driving experience, and more, as you well know. Many people have also gotten into trouble for lying when they make a claim. With the festive season fast approaching, the country's road carnage is expected to be, quite significant, right? I think we can accept that is the situation we are dealing with. Well, to speak more on insurance and policies, Lionel Makokotlela, the founder of Financial Wise Corner, joins me now in studio. Lionel, good afternoon. Thank you for coming through. So let's start with the quotations. Everyone is seeking to save a rand or two wherever we can. The times are hard financially.
Certainly.
What are the factors that are decisive? I know that we can put them in a basket and
Yes.
all of us can mouth them off. Age, where you park your car, etc., etc.
Yes.
But which ones are decisive in ensuring that I get lower premiums compared to the next driver?
It actually depends. There are various factors that insurance companies will take into account before they can actually give somebody an insurance quotation. And this would be primarily based on what is it that you give them. So the information that you provide to your insurer would actually determine the amount of money that you'll be paying on a monthly basis. But just to take a little bit, backstep a little bit. So what insurance it is in a nutshell is basically buying protection for future financial losses that might not be known. But as you just indicated in your introduction that most people lie about that, it is something that is actually going to be primarily what insurance companies will be focusing on, especially December time.
Yeah.
Because most of the time people tend to be a bit reckless in terms of the consumption of alcohol and driving at the same time, which is primarily unacceptable, and it's something that the law doesn't really permit. But equally important, what we need to take into account is that some people are actually going to be leaving their households, going on a holiday and leaving somebody to look after their households. And you may find that the person is actually an unspecified driver for that specific vehicle. And if, lo and behold, they don't get into an accident, but then when they get into an accident, that would actually also affect in terms of the kind of premium.
So if I'm hearing you correctly,
Yes.
you'd like us to be circumspect about the arrangements we make around one, insurance,
Yes.
sharing of accurate and honest details with insurance, as well as, our driving patterns going
Certainly.
into the December holidays, because there are consequences if we are not.
You're quite correct on that one. But equally important, there are other issues that may actually affect you. As we grow older, we tend to actually succumb to certain illnesses. For example, if I have epilepsy and I don't actually disclose this to my insurance, this will primarily have an impact whenever I want to actually claim in the event that I cause an accident as a result of my epilepsy. So those sort of materials are very important that you actually disclose them beforehand so that the insurer can actually be mindful of what is it that they are actually getting themselves into.
So there's honesty and candor at the point at which you're taking up the insurance policy, honesty and candor at the point at which you are making a claim. The earlier part, what motivates people to not be honest about, having a medical condition that might affect their driving, etc., and other people who are specified drivers? Why would I not be honest about that?
Some people are not honest about it, mainly based on fear of the unknown. In some cases, it might be shame being associated to the illness. For example, if I've got epilepsy, sometimes people, even closer friends, might not necessarily even know that I might actually be having this sort of illness. And as a result, it actually has a serious impact, not only on myself, but also for other road users on the road. So those are just some of the small little factors that you would actually find why people tend to lie about it. But in some cases, it might also be people want to really cover themselves in the event that they have actually done something wrong, but failing to understand that insurance companies actually also conduct their own investigation in terms of actually wanting to find out what actually transpired before the accident happened.
Yeah, in fact, I wanted to go to that. Yes. Is it a disposition of insurance companies to try and find reasons why they shouldn't pay the claim, as opposed to the other way around of saying try to find reasons to pay the claim?
I think, not to speak on behalf of insurance companies.
Yes, your experience.
You'd find that in most cases it's simply because they want to actually satisfy themselves before they actually pay out. But in some cases, you may find that they might have a red alert of some sort to say, but the claim that might actually be submitted, it's not actually correct insofar as in the material of what actually came after that, because there would be like your accident reports in some cases where you actually have to make statement under oath. So if then you make a statement under oath, but now when they actually investigate that different submissions, that also raises some alarm bells where you want to investigate further to really see what actually transpired.
So things like speed, for example,
Yes.
from your experience, if I'm involved in a crash and perhaps for some reason, which I never do, I drive like a grandfather.
That's a good thing.
But for some reason, maybe I'm doing 80 kilometers an hour in a 60 zone and I have a crash. It's not a good idea, from what I hear you saying, for me to then say I was driving at 60, because I'm imagining that, for instance, today's cars have some kind of a black box,
Yes,
many
they
of them,
do.
where
Yeah.
the investigators will easily go and retrieve the data. And
Certainly.
you were lying.
The best thing to do is just to be honest, and in the event that you feel that your honesty has landed you into hot waters, there are still other institutions that you can actually approach to really say, but this claim, it's still a valid claim, irrespective of whether I was wrong or right. But in that case, you can actually approach, since we are talking about vehicle insurances, you can actually approach Ombuds for short-term insurance. This is where it's an institution that would actually assist in terms of the material, the merits that you submit based on what is it that then the insurer is saying.
So don't try and bring about what you consider to be justice for yourself by saying, oh, they are likely going to turn down my claim, so let me tweak the details a little bit to ensure that they accept it. Rather, be honest.
Yes.
And if it's turned down, then go to other recourse.
Certainly. You can certainly do that. But equally important, what people need to know is simply that the more you actually try to be honest, the more then the law would actually also find favor in you.
Yeah.
So if you then lie and then now try to utilize the legal route to actually try to cover up your lie, it's never going to work.
You've called yourself up. All right, thank you so much. Sage advice there. Much appreciated at the right time too. That is the founder of Financial Wise Corner, Lionel Makokotlela, there with some tips on how to deal with insurance ahead of the festive season.